Thank you again, Chairman, for having me here. I'll be the fly in the ointment again today. I empathize with all these stories. I don't disagree with a lot of the students that are involved in this. But I will say that the reason that this is the first bill of its kind in the country put forth by a state is because I believe it's unconstitutional. I don't think the state of Rhode Island or any state has the permission or whatever to issue a driver's license or a work permit to an illegal alien, which these students are still illegal aliens. The second thing I'd like to say is, in the bill, it doesn't address this situation. What about the people that were in DACA that have been removed for committing crimes or whatever, misdemeanors, whatever it happens to be? Some of them under the Obama administration, would they be still eligible? Would this bill want to give them driver's licenses and work permits? It doesn't make any sense to me. And again, I can't emphasize that. I wrote to an organization in Washington and asked if they thought this bill was even legal, and the response from them was, it's blatantly unconstitutional. The state can't do that. They can't issue work permits or driver's licenses to, as they put it, foreign nationals, which are illegal aliens. Thank you.
Representative Corvese?
Hi, Doc.
Terry, as far as the couple of points you brought up with regard to former DACA students who may have run afoul of the law, I think there's, as Representative Maldonado pointed out, there may be some tweaking of the bill in certain areas that need to be done. I know that other individuals have privately mentioned it to me. So Representative Maldonado is more than open to any reasonable and appropriate changes, I believe. I'm not speaking for her, but I think she has expressed that she's willing to tweak it. But I want to go back to something. You know, you talked about these individuals, this group that you asked about their opinion on the bill that being unconstitutional, that we can't do that. I agree with you with regard to the issue of illegal immigration, with regard to the policy on sanctuary cities where it protects criminals in the sense that it forbids local and state law enforcement to coordinate their efforts with the feds. I have a problem with that. That's well known. However, you see my name is on this bill.
Yes.
The DACA individuals present a unique situation to American society and American government. The DACA individuals' illegal immigration status has been foisted upon them through no deliberative choice of their own. They've been placed in an untenable situation through the actions of their parents and through the actions of former elected and appointed federal officials. Therefore, we in the General Assembly, as prudent societal stewards, have an obligation to maintain their status quo and their safety until such time as President Trump and our congressional leaders make a definitive determination as to their immigration status and as to their particular situation within our country. DACA presents a very, very unique situation. So that is why I support it, and I support Representative Maldonado's bill. I think that you have brought up some interesting points, but keep in mind, we're going to talk about constitutionality. DACA was created through an executive order.
Something unconstitutional.
As you sow, so shall you reap. What the government giveth, the government can take away. But in this case, the government is trying to rectify a difficult situation on a state level. So I do support the bill because these individuals have been placed in an untenable situation through no fault of their own. And I think we have a responsibility to at least maintain the status quo until such time as their situation is remedied by the federal government who created the problem.
Rep, I disagree that we should put in something as a law in the state of Rhode Island that contravenes basically federal law until such time as the federal government makes a determination of how it's going to be.
And I realize that, and you're not wrong. And if anyone's reasonable, they'll realize you're not wrong. But at the same time, you have to play with the cards you're given.
Yeah, well,
And these people have been placed, and they are in a very different, unique category, which I think you would agree.
I don't disagree at all. I don't disagree at all. I've been basically, I won't know if he would agree or not, but Rodrigo and I have had many discussions about this, and we're friends over it. I don't dislike Rodrigo because he's in the DACA program by any means, but I just disagree that this is the way, and it's been this way for a long time. And one other thing I didn't add it earlier,
Go ahead.
in the bill, just at the end of the bill, it says there's proof of DACA, not proof of DACA, proof of residence. You have to prove that you're a resident of Rhode Island. What proof do they have to present? It doesn't say that in the bill. If you want a driver's license, you get a list of things this long that you have to have, but you don't have to have any proof of residence. It just says proof of residence, and that's all it says in the bill. So I have mixed emotions about the whole thing, but I just think if it's against the Constitution, I don't think we should be doing it.
Representative Knight, then Representative Flippy.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. Mr. Gorman, I just want to take up the constitutional piece of it for a minute. I know there's a huge amount of debate about the creation of the category for DACA recipients and whether or not that's constitutional. And I think it's a complicated question for sure. But I don't think that, let's assume for the minute that it is unconstitutional. I don't think that infirmity affects our ability to say who can drive on our roads. I mean, we have the 10th Amendment, which allows the states to exercise powers that are not specifically given to Congress. And driving in roads, that's one of those things that the states, by and large, can do whatever they want to do, especially when it comes to driver's license, because the authority to issue a license ends at the border. And when I cross the line from Barrington into Seekonk to go up to Route 6 and go shopping, I can do so because Massachusetts has recognized our license. Now, they may not do it for a DACA recipient, but I think it's totally constitutional for us to decide who can drive on our roads and who can't, regardless of what's happening at the federal level, for the record.
Well, I think, I don't totally disagree with that either, but with what the response was, that the state cannot issue a driver's license or a work permit to a foreign national, and which are illegal aliens are foreign nationals. Only the USCIS, the United States Center for Immigration Services, can issue those permits. So I don't know, it would have to be a separate permit other than this DACA permit, or someone that's in DACA, for the reasoning behind giving someone a driver's license.
I would bet that even if that regulation exists somewhere that says USCIS has the exclusive power to issue these privileges, I would bet it's not been tested in court. And I think if it were, there's not a judge in the land who would say that a state can't declare who can drive on their roads and who can't. And certainly, I think the best argument is that you might be able to say is maybe immigration law would preempt in this area, but I really doubt it because driver's license don't cross state lines. There's a famous case they teach you in law school about mud flaps. The state of Arizona wanted to legislate how the mud flaps worked on big trucks, and the feds came in and sued Arizona and said you can't do it because trucks go interstate, and we get to define what a mud flap looks like. And it went all the way up to Supreme Court, and the federal government won. And I'm analogizing this situation to that. I think our driver's licenses stop at the border by definition. So it may be an open question, but in any event, just like you and Representative Corbasi talked about, the human fact of the matter is that we have these folks who are essentially American in all the ways that really matter, and they're stuck in limbo because the feds can't get their act together. And it's not our problem to deal with. We just have to make it work in the meet. We have to play the cards that we're dealt. Thank you.
I could say I could make the same statement for the DACA recipients. They have to play the card that they're dealt, and they're basically illegal aliens through the fault of their parents. And believe me, I'm not 100% against the DACA kids, but that's just the way it is. That's, in my opinion, that's the law. You guys are the lawyers, know more about it than I do, but that's my layman's opinion.
Representative Filippi?
I don't have much more to add other than it's wonderful to hear my friends from the left and their vigorous defense of the 10th Amendment.
Which I think now has gotten more attention in this hearing than the entirety of Supreme Court jurisprudence. Representative Cotton? Okay. Anything further for Terry? Okay, sir?